It's that point in the show when we get some insights on the Bears from our Bear Blitz analyst, Hub Arkush. He joins us now from Chicagoland. And Hub, I know you felt all along in training camp and through the preseason that Eddie Pinheiro could be the Bears' answer at kicker. And, well, was that performance in Denver enough to convince you Pinheiro's going to get the job done this year?
Well, it certainly helps. I mean, as you just said, I've been convinced for a while that he's got a chance to be a really good kicker. I think that a lot of the kicker stuff has been much ado about. I won't say nothing. I know about the double doink and the disappointments of Parkey last year and what happened. But at the end of the day, it's just like filling any other position. You go get the best prospects you can, and then you pick one and you hope you've got the right guy. It was obvious to me from the jump when they made the trade that Pinheiro was the best prospect that they had. He's got a big leg. He's got a good personality. That's as much as you ever know about any of these kickers. I can't promise that Pinheiro's obviously he's going to miss a kick somewhere along the line, but I do think they've got the right guy in the position. I think that's one that the Bears can cross off their list of concerns.
Yeah, now if they can get that offense going, how much trust do you think Matt Nagy has in Mitch Trubisky right now?
We're all just guessing, Scott. I think he probably still feels that the kid can be a pretty good quarterback. I'm sure he still goes into each game week preparation confident and goes into each game confident. I think what happened on Sunday was more a product of what Nagy expected from him and the way he built that game plan for that particular situation than necessarily Trubisky, was bad or not ready. He certainly wasn't struggling the way he did in the opener against the Packers. They didn't ask him to do too much, and he didn't do too much, and he did miss a few plays, but he also made some. And that last play before the field goal, I mean, that's what the great ones do. Nobody's pretending that Mr. Trubisky is a great one. I don't know if he's going to be, but he executed that to perfection, and that's what you're looking for. So you can't just say, well, he has no confidence, he can't handle pressure. He's done those things on occasion. I think it just continues to be kind of the ongoing development of this kid and the hopes that at some point he'll start to be a little more consistent.
You mentioned how impressive that completion was to Allen Robinson, and then I think back to the playoff game against the Eagles, how Trubisky got the job done on that last drive to set up the Bears for a field goal. Is it possible maybe he just performs a little bit better in up-tempo situations, and maybe the Bears should experiment with that a little bit?
It's possible. I thought you were going somewhere else. You were going to say it's possible he's only great under pressure, which would be kind of weird, But you make a great point. He played one of the worst halves of football of his career in the first half of that wild card game against the Eagles, and he played easily the best 30 minutes of his career in the second half when the stakes have never been higher. So does the up-tempo part help? They've done some of that on and off, and he seems to do pretty well in it. I think that becomes a question of, is everybody else on the offense acclimated enough yet to be able to run that? I suspect they may do a little bit more of that. But when you go up-tempo, you got to trust your quarterback to make some of his own calls. And as hands-on as Nagy is with the play calling, I'm guessing he's not overly comfortable with that at the moment.
What do you make of the tight end position?
I don't know if they're good enough there, Scott. They're not a perfect football team. I know Bears fans wish they were, but they're not. They're one of the more talented teams in the league, but that has been a concern for me all during the offseason, all during training camp. Adam Shaheen made probably his best play as a Bear on that 1 3rd and long where he got the first down, but one play every couple games just isn't enough. I'm beginning to question whether Adam Shaheen can be the player that they hoped he would be when they drafted him in the second round. Trey Burton, I think, is one of the better U tight ends in the league, but he's a U tight end. That means he's the second tight end on the field, almost always in 12 personnel. He's not an every down answer. And once you get past the two of them, there's nobody that you can feel comfortable is going to go out and make a big play for you when you need one.
All right. The Bears have the Redskins this week, and the Redskins have given up a lot of points these first 2 weeks. Is this the week when the Bears offense should finally start to be productive against this Redskins defense?
Well, it should be. Washington is in the bottom 10% of the league in almost everything. They're tied for second to last in points allowed at 31 a game. Only the JV Miami Dolphins are worse than that. They're equally bad against the pass and the run. I think they're 29th against the run, 25th against the pass. They are the worst in the league at getting off the field on third down. They're giving up an otherworldly 64.8%. And so if ever there was a defense tailor-made for Matt Nagy to have some fun with and Mr. Trubisky to make some plays against, it would appear to be this one. But this is where you got to be careful. 2 weeks into the season, you don't want to take anything you've seen as gospel. Yes, they're giving up a ton of points, but they've seen two pretty high-powered offenses in Philadelphia and Dallas. You know, you've got two all-pros in that secondary, really expensive free agents in Josh Norman and, of course, Landon Collins. Neither one of them played to that level since they got the money and got to Washington. But if you get in a close game, you worry about guys like that making plays. So I think the key for the Bears, you know, with all the focus on Trubisky, you got to stay with the run game, and you got to add a couple of big chunks to it.
All right, Hub, thank you. We'll talk to you again next week.
All right, Scott.
And a reminder, catch Hub right here every week, but you can also hear him on the Bears pregame and postgame shows on Sports Radio 670, The Score in Chicago. And Hub is the executive editor of Pro Football Weekly and ProFootballWeekly.com, where you can find not only lots of Bears information, but information from all around the NFL. Up next, we'll have our predictions for this week's action in the NFC North. As we head to the break, here's our Bear Blitz trivia question. What sport did Eddie Piñeiro's dad play professionally? I'll have the answer after the break.